check this out. Really cool. So I haven't made a video like this in a long time, and the first one that I uploaded was kind of like a mess. I was rambling a lot. It wasn't cut together very well, so I kind of want to do a better job at making these more concise and just like better quality overall. And I also want to make a lot more of these videos because I have tons of horns in my personal collection right now, and some of them might not be here in the next few months because I'm trying to sell some of them. So today I have something really cool. This is you can't see, but it says the Bundy Special. Look at that. This is the best playing Bundy on the market. And some of you might be wondering, well, Bundys are typically a pretty saxophone. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Pretty bad saxophone. Yeah, their rep is like student instruments. But this one in particular is really not a student instrument at all. This is pretty professional. This is a pretty professional horn. Despite its looks, it's got the nickel-plated keys on like kind of that yellow lacquer. A little better than some of the really light yellows that you see today. It's not the prettiest horn, I'll admit, but there are some cool things about it. This one in particular I really like because it's a little worn. You can see it's got some wear on it, but it still looks really good. These instruments were made in Germany, I'd say probably in the 60s and 70s, like mostly in the 60s and 70s. I think production went into the 80s as well, but you'll have to fact check me. They pretty much were branded as a bunch of different instruments, the Bundy Special being one variant. But you could find these made by Keilwerth typically under the name, I think like the Tone King, the ones from the 60s and 70s. It's going to be this horn. It's going to be the exact thing. The Couf company also made something called the King, or what is it? It's the Superba. Yeah, the Couf company made the same exact horn. Couf and Keilwerth back in the day were like the same horns. And that horn was called the Couf Superba 1, I believe. Same body, same key work. There's slightly different cosmetic variants from model to model, but for the most part, these are professional instruments, and they're really good, and I would even argue that this outplays a lot of things on the market today, including some of the current Keilwerths. This one in particular was made in 1962, I believe. The serial says something like 44,000. Some cool features is I really like this plastic brace here, this plastic pants guard. It's clear. That's cool. Another cool thing that I mentioned in the video about the 10M tenor is the rolled tone holes. I don't know if you can see. You can kind of see there's a little lip on top of the tone hole. The idea is to protect the pad life. It's not like a sharp tone hole making contact with the leather on the pad. It's like a nice rounded surface area. And also some people argue that it changes the sound. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's just a cool feature to put on a horn. You don't really find that too often on horns that aren't old cons or things of that nature. But yeah, it's cool to see on something like this. I bought this horn some time ago, and it came to me in the mail really in poor shape. I think there was some shipping damage or something. The seller seemed really honest, so I don't think they were trying to pull a fast one on me. But yeah, I put a lot of time into restoring it, and this was essentially my first overhaul that I did myself. I changed a lot of the pads. Overhaul is a, kind of an umbrella term, but I would say this was closer to an overhaul job than it was a regular like service, because I had to pull a lot of things out of here and change a lot of things, and I also had to bend a lot of keys back to where they needed to be. This in particular, but as you can see, it's in really good shape now, and I'm actually quite proud of this job because this was probably one of the first overhauls I did. You can hear some of that saxophone ASMR here. So, what else is cool on this horn? There's like a double reinforced lip on the bell. You can kind of see that extra layer of brass. It's pulled out and rolled over, I think, and yeah, it's just reinforced up there. These things are built kind of like tanks. What else here? I think the octave key is kind of comfy. It's like that teardrop clarinet kind of school of thought, and I don't know, I kind of prefer like that because I started on the clarinet, and also most of my horns kind of have an octave key like that. This one in particular is really light and fast. I like how it feels. It's very comfortable. As far as how the horn plays, I think these horns tend to play pretty bright. Of course, you know, you practice any sort of sound or whatever, you can get any sort of sound out of most instruments. But I think, you know, if you let the instrument do most of the work, it'll point you in the direction of sort of a bright, focused sound. It's got some projection to it. It's got some projection, some power. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun to play. It really is. I had a good time working on this horn, playing it for a few gigs, and now I think somebody's gonna buy it soon. One thing I will complain about, which is literally the smallest problem in the world, but just me being someone who I like to keep things consistent. This is the only horn I own, I think, where this screw up here is on the opposite side. Usually they're here, and I like to tighten things with my right hand because habit, right? All my other horns are like that. This feels like backwards to me, but it doesn't. Obviously, it doesn't affect the way the horn functions. It's just a screw. Yeah. So anyway, these are really cool instruments, kind of underrated. And I honestly couldn't recommend them enough to anybody who's looking for a great horn on a certain budget. You know, you really get what you pay for and more, I think. I had a friend who had one of these, and I was just blown away with how much horn this was. So, yeah, enough of me talking. Let's get to the playing.